Anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me when no one else loved me. I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned.
Hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in to the Testimonial Tuesday. Today we are a little bit earlier, but we have Jacqueline LuLu Brown in the building. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
I am awesome. Can you tell the people where you tuning in from and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am tuning in from just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. South, maybe about an hour, in a city called Stockbridge. And I am a ICF, International Coaching Federation certified master life strategy coach. I am a minister. I am a best-selling co-author for a couple of books. But I think most importantly, I am a revolutionary and a radical agent for empowering women. That's that's my um, sole mission in life, that all women will be empowered regardless of whatever their circumstances are. They will come up and out of those circumstances so that they can truly ascend to their highest self. And I should have said my company is named Revolution Ascension.
Mm. Now, how did you come up with that name, with that title for that company?
So I'm not going to take the credit for it. In all truthfulness, I was going through some sessions with oh my God, this woman was everything from, I'm going to say, a therapist, a mentor, a coach, you name it. And we were talking one day, and I was just truly speaking from my heart. And we were thinking about, okay, what would I call what I do? And we were just kind of going through some things, and I used the word revolution in the conversation, and then I started talking about ascending. And she said, oh, wait, revolution ascension. She said, that's it. And I felt it when she said revolution ascension, that's it. And that's what I've been. Revolution Ascension.
A revolution ascension. I love it. Now, tell people what is your mission and what else that y'all do.
So, my mission is that women will see themselves in a higher place than they currently are. What do I mean by that? Very often, we might be successful. We may have the six, or who knows, maybe seven-figure job or business. We may have the home and the cars and the shoes and purses to match. But we haven't reached our limitless place. So, a big piece of my mission is for women to realize that there is no sky and there are no limits, just the ones that we set for ourselves. If we don't set limits, there really are no limits. And these cliches that are repeated, the sky is the limit, well, when that's repeated, we just put a limit on ourselves. So my sole really purpose is to make sure that women realize that no matter how much success you have not begun to soar to the limitless place that you can.
Absolutely. Now, for a woman that's out there that's trying to figure out how to get into her soaring like an eagle, what advice can you give to her?
I would say the first thing is to begin to do inner work. Sometimes, as women, we might have the tendency to put the cart before the horse. And this is really big with women that want to go into entrepreneurship. women that want to go to a higher level in their career, in their ministry, in their community advocacy. Go and do the inner work first. Because when we have not come through everything, we may have come through some of the things on the inside, but we may not have come through everything. And when we have not come through everything, there's always going to be a barrier there. There's always going to be something that we have not unlocked. So I would say the first place that you want to start is get the key and unlock. And that's not necessarily from a broken place. So this is not to say that every woman out there is broken. What about all of the hidden jewels and gems that have not been unlocked as of yet? So do that inner work, because the inner work is what is going to bring forth all of those hidden jewels, all of that greatness, genius, and brilliance. Those are hashtags for Revolution Ascension. So all of that, to bring that out, we have to do some inner work first. And that's what's going to unleash all of the superpower that we might not be aware of. So start with the inner work first.
Absolutely. It's crazy because so many times some people fear that they own self of their superpower.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, you started this company, but wasn't you in corporate world first?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said you started the company, but wasn't you in the corporate world?
Yes, I was.
So,
I was in, and I'm sorry, there's just a little slight delay. So I was in information technology and engineering for 38, 39 years. And in that role, I did everything from very technical jobs to management to senior and executive leadership. And in those years, the past, I'll say in that 38 years, there was a period of 25 years coming up to now that everything that I'm doing in my business right now, I was already doing that while I was working full time. I was doing that, mentoring other women in corporate leadership, helping women to navigate those waters but not lose their authenticity. And this was in ministry as well as community advocacy. So the difference of being in corporate was that obviously I was not doing what I'm doing now as a full-blown business, but I was doing the work. And I found that there was a great need in corporate for us as women across the areas of being okay with being authentic and realizing that we could accomplish anything that we wanted to accomplish being authentic, learning that you don't have to conform. So that part of being in corporate, there were a lot of lessons learned that I give now in the divine feminine women's leadership training that I do, because somehow I think across everything that has happened coming up the years, somewhere we were a little mixed up from the perspective that we had to conform to what the system says. We were always given a book to read. Read this book because this is your corporate success roadmap. When in actuality, it was somebody else's roadmap. It was somebody else's process. So a big piece in corporate was my own journey, because I didn't walk into corporate 40 years ago or however long that was the way that you see me today. I didn't walk in there authentic. I didn't walk in there knowing who I was. I didn't have a clue as to who I was. But over the years, I found out that conforming to a system that isn't designed for us anyway, trying to fit into someone else's mold that tells us that this is what you have to do to succeed. And I found that to be very frustrating. I learned through my own process and developing my own process and journey that navigating the waters within the corporate world, we have to master that. But we do not have to lose ourselves, because who we are authentically, who we are at the core and the essence of who we are, these wonderful beings that we are, and I'm speaking specifically to the women out there, when we get to that place, that's where you unlock your divine feminine superpowers. And that's where your leadership skills supersede anything that any of your male peers can do. That's not to put them down, but it's to say that our superpowers, they supersede and help others in a manner that I have never seen men be able to do. They're good. Women are great, especially in this space of leadership. And I hope I answered your question.
You did. You did. So now the next question I have for you is that the fact is that, through our journey, we learn some things about ourselves. So what do you feel that you learn one positive thing and one, I will say challenging thing that you learned about yourself?
Woo, that's a loaded question.
It is.
Okay, so let's go to the lesson learned. What I learned is that hard lesson, I was operating in codependency for so many years. And that's because I didn't know what it was. That's because I was ignorant to what codependency truly is. I did not understand that codependency had everything to do with needing to be the superhero, always going and saving someone, needing to be the savior of everything and everyone, yet neglecting, always looking for the wounded person that I can go and save. And so that was a hard lesson learned, because I was operating in a place that I didn't know I was operating in. So coming out of that place sort of really opened up. It's like a flower that begins to open up and bloom. Once I was able to see that there was this area that was a major area that was affecting everything else, because there was a lot of self-neglect. And while others were soaring and, moving on, and that was everything from ministry to others' careers, everything that I was doing, while everyone else was soaring along, I was perishing. And I was perishing on the inside because I had unhealed wounds. So that right there, and it started the path of the codependency, but there was a root to the codependency. And the root to the codependency was not being healed from a spirit of abandonment. And that goes all the way back to childhood. So that was the challenging piece. And as we all know, we have to look in that mirror. We have to really say, this is me, and I need to deal with me and come up and out of that place. So that's a process. And that's being willing to look at ourselves in a manner that maybe we didn't look at ourselves before. So that was the lesson learned. That was the challenge. Let's see. I'm going to say from a strength perspective. So as you know, I'm Jacqueline Brown, but I'm fondly known as LuLu. And I was given that name by my mom when I was very little. And it's after an endearing cartoon character. And that character was a busybody, always outside the box, never coloring inside the lines, always seeing things from a different lens, loud, noisy, just going in the opposite direction of everyone else. That right there, the day that I discovered that that is a strength and not a weakness. That is something that when you literally go in and hone in on that and strengthen that, that is what enabled me to go to a place where there is no sky and there are no limits. And that was everything from career, ministry, community advocacy, as well as not-for-profit, as well as my own business.
That is awesome. And a lot of times people are afraid to tap in because they forget that their unique talent is the power.
Absolutely. You know, the other piece is there's this part of us sometimes that we feel ashamed to even reveal our power. Like, for some reason, we don't feel that we're entitled to it.
Right.
That we don't feel that we should relish in it. And that tends to really hold us back. It tends to keep us in a place of sometimes mediocrity. We can be good, but are we great? And then taking it another step further, we can be great, but are we phenomenal? So it's really that part of getting to the phenomenal, because we use words like great, excellence, show up in excellence, good to great. What about phenomenal?
Right.
Because we are phenomenal beings. And here's the it's not a secret, it's just knowledge. We're phenomenal when we're in our mother's wombs. We are those special beings. So my mom giving me that name, LuLu, and folks were like, yeah, she's a LuLu. And it was kind of like a joke or, this little crazy, very eccentric child that no one knows what to do with, all of a sudden becomes enlightened that there is really a lot to a LuLu. And that's what makes me who I am today. That's what makes me passionate. That's what makes me radical. That's what makes me 100% unafraid to challenge the status quo. That's what makes me able to say, who said that? Even when it's scripture in the Bible. Okay, all right, I'm hearing you, but who wrote it? Who said it? And do you know why they said it? And what was happening in the time that they were saying it? And it's not to be combative, but I think that we should challenge a lot of what we've been taught in the manner that we've been taught that. I think that we can see a different revelation. And I think those new revelations are what take us to our limitless place.
Absolutely. Take us to that next level. So tell us, what is your goals for the next 5 years for your business?
Oh, okay. Now I could answer that one. My biggest goal is to be the greatest philanthropist ever to live. Next 5 years. That's a big, big goal. And I mean, I'm very vocal because I don't doubt what me, you, or anyone else is capable of. You and I can come together and say we're going to work on a project, and literally we can blow the world's minds. Because when we set our heart and our mind, and notice how I said heart, our heart and our mind, and when our spirit, that divine feminine part that was in us when we were in our mother's womb, when we bring all of that into alignment, that's a spontaneous combustion right there. That's a lot of power. It's just power. And when we bring all of that together, we can accomplish anything. And so next 5 years, I would anticipate that you are having a conversation with me, and I am literally a great philanthropist with all of this money, and we're really discussing everything that I've done all over the world to make a difference in the lives of women. I've traveled all over the world, but I've not had the financial ability to make the difference on the level that I would like to. I want to make a difference in the lives of women in India, Africa. I've been to those two places. I've been all over the UK. I've been to Australia. There are melanin people just like us, and that's not to exclude Caucasian women. But what I'm saying is that there are melanin people all over this world that, believe it or not, have had some of the challenges just like me.
Right.
And I want to be able to pour into them, have the ability to provide them with what it is they need to reach their limitless place. So that's the 5-year plan. It's a short period of time, but I'm striving to get there.
Absolutely. So tell me, is there any more books in the future?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
So let's see. The first co-author book that I was a co-author is called 31 Ways of Influence. And the person that was in charge of that project is Minister and Apostle Dr. Derache Zorn. And it is based on the Proverbs 31 woman. And so there are about 25 authors in that book. And that book made Amazon's best international seller because Dr. Zorn is really big internationally. And so it made the international Amazon bestsellers list. And then the second one is Audacity to Shine. And the individual that had that up her name is C. Nicole. And I love to be in that book as well because we often need to get the audacity to just shine. Just don't be afraid of it. So that tells that's women telling different stories about themselves. And then the next one is I Am a Black Woman, the Next Level. And that's Dr. Carolyn Stevens. That's her project. And so this last one that I'm doing is called Own It, the Own It Anthology. And that is Marisa, and I'm going to say her last name wrong because I always do, but Broldoon. And that one is, I think, probably where I came into another level of thinking about everything from my corporate experience. Because I talk more about, which I didn't write in the other books. Is there going to be a book that I'm going to do that's just going to be LuLu's book? One day. When? I have no idea. I think I'm going to do all these anthologies, and then I have all of those chapters that I can just take and that'll
put them
be
together.
That'll be my boilerplate. But I anticipate that when I write my own book, I anticipate it being about that thick. It's definitely not going to be, thin. It's going to be pretty thick because I would say God, some say creator, but I say God, has brought me through some things, as well as the generations prior to me and my entire family. There is such a story there. I often say that Tyler Perry couldn't write. There's too many, I'll say, series, and he'd have to just continue to write nothing but our story until he left the face of the earth. That's how big, not just my story, but my family's story is. And it's a good story. It's a story full of victory. Is there some sorrow in there? Of course there is. But there's a lot of victory from one generation to the next to the next.
And that is totally awesome. Because, we got to have those victories in order to level up because it all is a lesson in everything that it is to happen, good or bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, if I may,
You may.
I don't want us to leave without talking about October being Domestic Violence Month.
Absolutely.
And that's a passion. And we still have so much of it. And I love, as you and I have spoken before, I love everything that you do with the mask. And we've talked about how I've done some things over the years about the mask. And today I was kind of looking and I said, let me find, because I've got props. So I happened to come across this particular mask. And there we go. This one. And I'll just kind of, where is it? There we go. I think I can see you. But you know something? I didn't even realize that this mask is purple until this month. Now, we have all the other years of domestic violence. I didn't realize and really pay attention. You know, there's had to be something going on in my subconscious that I purchased a purple mask. And we still are masking what we're going through in abusive relationships. And the hardest thing is to just admit, not feel denigrated. So for those that are watching out there, I just want every woman to know there is no denigration, there is no shame. It's not your fault. There may be a root to how you got there, but it's not your fault. And most importantly, no woman deserves to be abused physically, mentally, playing the mind games on women, or verbally. There's a lot of verbal abuse. And sometimes you don't recognize it for what it really is. So being a survivor of an abusive relationship, I would just want every woman out there to unmask their voice and literally seek to get some help. There's so much help available out there today. There's a laundry list. We're all talking about it, but we're all talking about it from a place of love because we've been there. And there's all of these things that prevent us from taking off that mask and just saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm worth more than what I'm allowing someone to do to me. And it's a funny thing that a lot of times there's fear because abusers have a certain way that they gain control. And one is instilling fear. And for me, I think that the fear of what you have to go through to come out of it seemed like it was worse than staying in it. Now that sounds real crazy, but I'm just being real and honest because maybe somebody else out there feels that way. You're in this situation, but when someone has put that fear in you and you're afraid for your life, there's something that says, oh, they'll calm down in a little while. Oh, it'll blow over. And it's kind of like, well, it's easier to go through these little bouts than for me to just totally walk away because I know now things are going to get really crazy and somebody's going to try to take my life. And I just want to encourage women that you can come up and out of it. And am I speaking from experience? Yes. I almost lost my life twice. And I got to a point to where I made up in my mind that I'm going to either live or die. Because you can be alive, but dying on the inside. So I made up in my mind that I shall live. And with the help of God and with the help of, I would say, everything from ministers to family, I was able to say, I'm done. And do that in a manner that was safe and never even imagine going back to that place again. So I just want to encourage all the women out there that if you are in an abusive relationship, give serious consideration of getting help and moving away from it. Don't keep it a secret. I kept it a secret. And by the time, mainly my dad, who was living at the time, by the time my family members and my dad really knew what I had been going through, I think it was more heartbreaking than if I would have said something when it first started. Because now you've been living something that you've been hiding, which is a lie, and you've been doing it for all these years. And all of a sudden, now out of the clear blue, wow, we didn't know.
Right.
Why didn't she tell us? Why didn't she ask for help? So that's really important as well. Tell somebody. Tell someone. There's no denigration. I'm sure no one woke up and said, oh, gee, I think I'm going to get in an abusive relationship. I think I want to be abused today. No one wakes up and says that any more than anyone wakes up and says, I think I want to be raped today. Any more than anyone wakes up and says, gee, I think I want to be a crackhead. People don't wake up with the desire for these things to happen. There are roots in our lives that probably can go back generations. There are circumstances. There are all sorts of things that have happened to us. And we just have to be willing to trust the process of coming up and out of it. Literally, no matter what it is. So I just want to leave that with anyone that is in an abusive relationship, or if you know someone that's in an abusive relationship, don't criticize. Don't say, oh, that is so stupid. Well, I don't know why they would let somebody do that. No, you don't know why. And you will never know why, because it's not you. So don't criticize, but make people comfortable that they can come and they can just pour out their heart. And then you can be part of the solution for that person and not part of the gossip or the problem.
Absolutely. And since we got onto that subject, is there any signs that you could give them people? Because some people don't even, they know they are, but they just want to miss the signs. But could you give them some signs they could look out for? Red flags?
Yes. Red flag, big red flag is exercising control. When someone wants to be in control. And that's everything from not wanting you to see certain friends, be around certain people, dress a certain way, look a certain way, control. Everything has to be the way that they say it. That's the beginning warning signs, because it starts in the control starts with small things. And then it blossoms into big things. The second warning sign is isolation. OMG. Isolation. When an abuser can get you isolated away from friends, family, the people that love you, the people that are going to support you, the people that are going to be that voice that you need to hear. Isolation. When someone is always complaining about, well, why are you going with that one, or why are you doing this? Isolating you away from your family, especially your close loved ones, when all the time has to be taken up with them. And you find that you have no other time with anyone else. Now, they might be giving you the world. They may be taking you to the most expensive, beautiful dinners and giving you all these wonderful gifts. And I don't know, you might be draped in jewels, whatever. But if every waking moment and every hour and minute has to be spent with them, and if they're giving you all these things to distract you, if you look around and you say, where is everyone? That's a warning sign, because isolation, once they get you isolated in a way, it becomes harder when the abuse really hits its peak. It becomes very difficult to go and talk about it, because you've been living in this isolated world for a very, very, very long time. The other piece of it is when someone denigrates you. They find fault with everything you do. You're never good enough. You're always wrong in something you do, to a point where if you find yourself apologizing a lot, that's a warning sign. Why are you apologizing a lot? Or, are you doing something that is that bad that you have to apologize all the time? When an individual, everything is a criticism. Everything from what you say, what you wear, how you look. There's never anything positive except when they want to be intimate. When they want to be intimate, obviously you're the most beautiful, sexiest person on the earth. And then when that moment is over, it's back to that denigration. Because love doesn't denigrate. Love is a covering. Love is helping you to soar to whomever, and I have no idea, who I'm speaking to, but I truly believe in here I'm speaking to someone. Love is all about you prospering to who you were created to be. And someone is going to want you to do that. They're going to want that for you. They're not going to continuously put you down and make you second guess yourself or feel bad about yourself. And I want to say this. Men are in abusive relationships. This doesn't just affect women. And what I'd like to leave with women, especially mothers, be very careful how and what you say in front of your sons. If you have younger sons, teenage sons, please be careful how you interact with their dad, your husband, your mate, whomever. Be really careful, because if they see you verbally abusing, and maybe, because men do get physically abused, but men get verbally abused really bad sometimes, where you just emasculate them and take away their manhood. If a son sees that happening, guess what? He's going to normalize that. And he's going to go and get involved in a relationship with a woman that does the same thing to him. That's one side of the coin. Mm-hmm. Let's flip the coin over. If he doesn't gravitate to someone that is doing to his dad what he sees his mother doing, the flip side of that is that he becomes extremely abusive himself, because he's seen the abuse, and in his mind, I'm going to get away from this. And the minute that the slightest little thing happens, that trauma, because we think that children seeing abuse, sometimes we don't realize, I won't say we don't think, but sometimes we don't realize how traumatizing that is. That trauma is going to wake up in him. And then he has the potential to be abusive. So there's two sides to the coin. Neither one of those sides are good when a young man grows up in a home where the father is being just emasculated, verbally abused. And I know that that works with daughters as well, but I think sometimes we forget that men are being abused as well. Men are being spoken to in a way that no one should be, no human being should be talked to in that way. And sometimes, like I said, it can get violent.
Absolutely. Now, can you tell everybody how to connect with you, how to follow you, and leave them some motivation for the week?
Yes. Okay. So First, I like to give a free gift. And my free gift is if you go to my business page, my personal page on Facebook is Jacqueline LuLu Brown. My Facebook page is Revolution Ascension. And you'll know you're in the right place because as you have me on the flyer here, you're going to see me in the yellow dress because there's a couple of different private groups and things like that. But go to the main business page and there's a book button. And you can book a 30-minute consult with me and we can just talk. And when you book that, I'm going to send you a questionnaire because I want to know what you want to talk about. That is not for me to try to sell you something. That is literally for you to talk about what's on your heart. And if there's something that you need help with, and I know someone that can help you, trust me, I will refer you to that individual. But sometimes people just need someone that they feel safe with. And one of the things that we provide at Revolution Ascension is a sacred, safe space. And I say sacred because as a minister, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that anyone can tell me that gets repeated to anyone. That goes against everything that we stand for. So confidentiality, it's sacred. And sometimes you just need to talk and just kind of express how you feel. So I want you to get the best of that 30 minutes, the most that you possibly can. So when you click on the book button, it'll give you times, slots to pick. Once I get that notification, I am going to send you a questionnaire. So that's my gift. And to get in touch with me, you can inbox me. I know everybody's on Facebook these days. So you can inbox me either on the business Facebook page or my personal page. And that's kind of how you get in touch with me. Inspiration for the week. So, and I think you and I spoke about this, Queen. I have a class that I teach called Unmask Your Voice. So inspiration for the week is unmask your voice no matter what it is. Unmask it. Don't hold it in anymore. Make a conscious decision that once you unmask your voice, you're going to see a lot of things that you were waiting to open up in this world for you. They're going to open up. You first have to get the words, whether it's in the atmosphere, the universe, you want to declare and decree it, or you want to confront it. All of those things. Don't be afraid. What is the worst that could happen when you unmask your voice? What? Somebody's not going to like what you're going to say? So what? And I know that that sounds easier than it really is, but that is where you have to get to soar into places where you are truly operating in your power and you are going into your personal limitless place. So I just encourage you, unmask your voice no matter what it is. You may need to have a conversation with somebody. You may be holding something that you needed to say. You might need to express yourself in some way. Whatever that is and whatever it looks like, don't be afraid to unmask your voice and speak your heart. This is you. This is your life. And you should be able to speak from your heart in whatever the situation is. In your career, listen, I was in corporate for a long time. Is there a way to navigate those waters to unmask your voice? Yes, there is. But it can be done. I've done it. And guess what? You will find more success when you are unmasking your voice and being authentic. That doesn't mean you're telling people off and you're acting in a manner that is totally inappropriate. But there are ways that we can unmask our voice, we can speak our truth, whatever we need to speak in the situation, whatever area of life it is. Once we do that, we will literally feel, you will feel something on the inside where it's almost like someone has released the chains and the shackles. It's like you'll feel these, no one else can see it, but you'll feel these chains and these shackles just, they drop off just by unmasking your voice. So I challenge you and encourage you this week, release whatever is unsaid in a manner that you know you are not trying to hurt anyone, but you're coming from here.
Thank you so much. It's always an honor to have you here, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Brown.
Thank you.
As always, guys, I thank you guys for tuning in for Testimonial Tuesday. We will be back tomorrow with Dr. Carol Stevens in the building at 8 p.m. So please tune in. Please tune in. As always, I have been the lady behind the mask, and I will catch you later.
Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me when no one else loved me. I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned the difference between love, lust of a good relationship. Yes, I wasn't perfect, but I learned to work on my mind, my body, and my soul connections. Yes, I have allowed the wrong spiritual around me. Now I've learned about the not allowing the negative energy around me. Yes, I've been down the road of destruction. Now I've learned how to not move by emotion, but by the spirit of my faith and purpose. Not anymore, my fears will not keep me from being a better version of me. Not anymore, my toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore, my lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness and so should you.